Hi, I am Jackie Beckford Henriquez, a co-founder of the Alliance, and we are especially honored today to have with us Janelle Clarke of the University of Waterloo track and field team. And I won't say any more about Janelle. We'll leave it to her to start, and then I get to ask her some questions, and you all as viewers get to learn more about one of the stars of our track and field team and a great student at the University of Waterloo. So go ahead, Janelle.
So hello everyone, my name is Janelle. As Jackie has said, I am a member of the varsity track and field team. I specialize in hurdles, sprints, and horizontal jumps. And I am in my 3B term of Biomedical Sciences.
Great. So let's start with talking about your track and field career. And I should say congratulations to you because you're actually one of 4 individuals who the Alliance group on campus decided to feature this year, one of 2 women. So tell us, how did you start in track and field?
So for me, my track and field career per se, I believe started in high school when I had one of my coaches approach me telling me they believed I had a lot of talent to do track and field. My mother was also a track athlete and she was always motivating me, not forcing me, but giving me a little nudge to join the sport. So throughout most of my years in high school, I did track and field. And after coming to University of Waterloo, and seeing the environment of the track and field team, I joined the team.
And what made you choose the University of Waterloo?
I mainly chose the University of Waterloo because I've heard a lot of good things about the environment, about the academic level of the courses. So for biomedical science, that was something that was very important to me. And I also liked the idea of having a very close-knit team, more like a family. So I really enjoyed the environment at Waterloo.
Okay. So you've come here. What have you done in your time at the University of Waterloo? Well, let's start with your track and field life. Tell me some of your accomplishments at Waterloo.
Well, in terms of track and field, I would have to say my biggest accomplishment was winning OUA gold for long jump. That was a very big accomplishment of mine, something that was very unexpected, but it was a very pleasant surprise. And that also led to going to U Sports to compete in long jump as well as in the 4x200 meter relay. So that was a very good experience. It was very eye-opening. So it was very enjoyable.
So this year, with all of what has gone on, I believe this will be your first time to compete again. It's nearly 2 years. Yep.
Yes, it's been a very long time.
Right. What are you focusing on for OUAs?
I think predominantly I'm focusing on improvement from my first year. I believe it's possible. I've been taking a lot of time throughout the pandemic to focus on my training. So I would just like to go back and improve on what I did in first year, go to youth sports again, maybe another potential OUA medal. We'll see how it goes.
Great. So, biomedical sciences. How has that gone for you? Has the experience been what you expected it to be in terms of academically?
I think it may be a little bit more difficult than I expected. I believe it's still not too bad to manage. I really enjoy the courses, which is something that I believe makes it a lot easier to manage as I find the content interesting. And also, I just try to keep myself organized so that I'm able to balance biomedical science with athletics.
And what do you plan to do, or do you have any plans right now after university with your biomedical sciences? And will you continue your track and field career after university?
I don't have any particular academic plans. I know that I would like to stay in the healthcare field, as physiology and working with the human body is something that's very interesting to me. So I wouldn't see myself branching out from that. And in terms of athletics, I find it very difficult to believe there will be a time where I don't do track and field at all. I believe over the past 5 years or so, it has shaped my life a lot. And I think giving up track and field would be a big task that I don't know if I would ever really be ready for. So I'm not really sure how I will implement it in my future, but I'm sure that I will continue to run after university.
So I did have the advantage of a little chat with you before this. And of course, because I'm from Jamaica and you told me your parents are from Jamaica, growing up in Canada, as the daughter of immigrant parents, what do you think, what was different in your experience growing up here?
I think I've said this to a lot of people. I think people don't realize with first generation immigrants having them as parents, they try very hard to implement you into the society that they brought you up in. So, society in Jamaica is a lot different than here in Canada. So, my parents have always tried their best to keep me up to date with all the movies and all like the social interactions that we have up here that may not be so common where they're from. So I think they did a very good job in exposing me to both sides. So exposing me to where I'm from while also keeping me up to date with what the people around me are exposed to and what the people around me enjoy. So I think in that aspect, yeah.
If there was one person you would say had the most influence on your life to date, who would you say that is?
I think that's a very hard question. I can't really choose between my parents. I think they both have influenced me in their own particular ways. My mom has always influenced me in the terms of always having drive and trying to do as many things as you can at once while still trying to remain efficient. My mom is one person who's always go, go, go. So I think I kind of learned that from her, and I think my dad also helped me with not giving up when things get a little bit difficult. So sometimes you may like encounter obstacles. And I think my dad really taught me perseverance. So I think they both taught me very valuable lessons.
And that's really nice because obviously you are a blend of the two of them. And certainly from what we have heard, that all those things that you just said, your drive and not giving up have contributed to your successes at university. Um, what would you say is, you mentioned your dad taught you not to give up. What obstacle have you found in life, can be academic, can be social, that you feel that you have overcome?
I think one big thing was coming to university. I had a lot of individuals not really say outright, but kind of point out to the fact it may be very difficult to keep up with science and athletics at the same time. And I believe a lot of people had some doubts that I would be able to do both at the same time. And I think a little bit of that seeped into my self confidence at the beginning of university. But I think like hearing my dad's voice in the back of my head, like you can really do anything you set your mind to. I think that gave me the courage to do both at the same time. And that was probably the best decision I've made since I've come to university. So I think that was very valuable advice.
I would like to just cut out that little piece and play it for all the first year swimmers who come in and, the whole university thing is bombarding them. And, I'm like, you can do this, you can do this. All the others before have done. So, it is a real challenge at the start. Your teammates, how many people do you have on the track and field team?
Um, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's in the 30s.
Okay, Okay.
Yeah.
And do you all go to the same competitions?
For the most part, because of this year with Corona, it's a little bit different, but like certain athletes may be longer distance, so may only go to the meets where it's like particularly longer distance. Some athletes do multis. So if there's a meet with a pentathlon, they'll specifically go to that meet. But for the most part, everyone goes to the same meets.
And you said at the start about the cohesiveness of the group. What do you think, why do you think that group has been a support, obviously, for you? What is there in that group that really drives you to stay part of it?
I think one big thing, particularly, I think I can speak to the women's side of the team as they're the ones I interact with the most. But a lot of the women on the team are also in science. So a lot of them are kind of a representation for me or like a sign that you can do both and you can excel in both. As there are also many women on the track and field team who are also on honor roll. So once again, it just goes to show that there is a balance between the two and it is possible. So I think they're a good source of motivation for me as well, which is one reason why it's very good to be in that environment. So yeah.
If there was one thing in the world, this question, they always ask it at beauty contests, but if there was one thing in the world that you would like to see changed, what would that be? And there's probably 100 things, but think of one of them that you would like to see change.
So many things running through my mind at once. I mean, in terms of Black History Month, the good thing to point out would be in terms of equality, because I believe one big problem we have is that a lot of groups of individuals, particularly people of color, are overlooked for their accomplishments. And I think with Black History Month and with the way society is moving today, we are seeing some improvements, but we still have a very long way to go. So that could change. That would be amazing. Hopefully, we can have more like recognitions such as Black History Month to put forward that change. But
no, and that's quite right. And I think something I've learned that you must never underestimate what you are doing. And, there might be some girl out there who happens to stumble across, for example, this and sees you. And I mean, I guess I've had a lot more years on the earth than you, but I begin to appreciate things like that more now, that you might not think that you are really doing anything, but by being a role model, you are actually contributing to making change in our society.
yeah.
Well, Janelle, is there anything that you would say to a student coming to UW, if a recruit saw this? Okay, you're recruiting now for UW track and field team. What would you say to them?
I think one big thing that is very important in terms of athletics and academics, just any facet of your life, is confidence. As once again, when I was coming into university, hearing a lot of doubts of my career path or just my university path kind of had me doubting myself as well. And my development of self-confidence throughout my first year really helped me pave my own path, regardless of what other individuals were telling me. And also, one thing that I had heard, I believe a few weeks ago, was a motivational quote that has stuck with me very well. And it was, slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. And I think that is a very important thing to remember. So, for example, it really shows how you need to have patience with yourself, which I think is very important in academics and in athletics. If you try to rush through a lot of things, that's when mistakes are made. And athletics, that's when you get injured. So once again, just slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. I think is the best way to think of your academic as well as your athletic career.
Well, Janelle, I think that's just the perfect place to end today, because those are definitely words of wisdom. And I thank you so much for your time, and best of luck for OUA's youth sports and for your future as a whole.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. This was a very nice experience.